Hello and welcome to the TTP Field Manual podcast. TTP is Trust the Process. Field Manual is presented to you by me, Joshy. With me, as always, just about, is Jonny. How are you, Jonny?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Can't complain. How are you?
I'm so peachy.
Peachy?
Yeah, I'm peachy. I've been back at the gym. Did hips the other day. I'm peachy.
Oh, mate. Gym has been rough.
I bet.
Our Lord and Torturer, Jeff Nippard, has had me running ropes.
Shout out to Jeff.
Oh, yeah. It's painful.
Wait, Jeff, do you play Warhammer? Do you want to hop on the podcast?
Wait, guest appearance.
Guest appearance, Jeff Nippard, to teach nerds how to lift.
Damn straight.
But I'm also peachy, Jonny, for a very particular reason.
And what is that?
I've got you in to talk about knights once again.
But this time it's I was going to say good guys, and that felt like the wrong word.
The more relatable guys.
I disagree there too. We're talking about the guys with structure.
Discipline. Code Chivalric, perhaps one might say.
Damn straight.
Imperial Knights.
Gotta say, I'm so glad it's over.
What do you mean you're so glad it's over?
The reign of Imperial Knights is over. Welcome to the Nerf Club.
You're speaking as if you versed them a lot.
I didn't, but hot damn did I have to suffer for the longest time because I was a Chaos Knights player and they always just got nerfed alongside, and now we've finally got adjustments that only hit one of them. My Chaos Knights are not as nerfed as these guys are, and I love it.
But they're not bad, right? Like, first impression's good.
First impressions seems like fun. Their detachments seem really fun and flavorful. We will get to my critiques of the datasheets when we get to the datasheets. Their army rule, though, seems pretty cool. Yeah, 4 detachments plus the Christmas one, which hopefully soon we'll get more.
Hopefully soon. So we got 4 and a bit detachments. We've got sort of 12/13 official 40k data sheets. And we got an army rule and a little bit of Crusade, perhaps, to mention throughout the episode.
Yeah.
Definitely going to be a bit more of a codex review, rules analysis, critique, that kind of jazz. So enjoy.
Strap in.
Strap in, lad. Oi, get stuck in, lads.
No, you got to strap into your big mech, you know?
Oh my god. The Orcs episode, just for a quick side note, was really fun to edit. I was really energized by all the orkiness that if you were to actually go and have a look at the Orcs episode, I'm pretty sure I just left the bio as, "Wah!"
I love that.
And all the timestamps is like orc speech.
Orcs are always fun. But today we're not talking about orcs, unfortunately. It's all about what is going on in the world of the Knights Chivalric or the Imperial Knights. Blah, blah, blah.
All right, Johnny, when we do a little bit of a codex review, I like to start us off with an introduction to the Force. Would you like to tell everybody what is the Imperial Knights faction from a lore perspective, and then how they do on the tabletop?
Do you like the Imperium over Chaos? Do you like big stompy things? Well,
yes.
Boyo, do I have an army for you. This is the equivalent of the Chaos Knights, which we have discussed previously. This is your big mech suit, stompy robots running around with way too many points invested per model. How do you feel about every single model being a Death Star unit? That's what you're playing with. The Knights for the Imperium are very feudal focused. There's this like horse and knight sort of vibe going on. They are very feudal in their like mannerisms and ways. It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a lot of like honor and that sort of talk. It's all very, it's cool. It's neat. And yeah, if you like to put giant stompy robots on the table, there's some fun looking detachments in this book, as we'll get to. And I even built an army list around what I thought was the most fun of the detachments, in my opinion.
I'll be doing that live.
Bit like me in the Orc episode.
Oops.
Throwing it
I spent
together.
all this time editing our other episodes.
So, their army rule works around the ideas of deeds and qualities. So it's kind of like at the start of the game, you plan what you want to do, and when you accomplish your feat, you get like a buff for your whole army. It's neat. It's like, I promise to do this, and if I do it, my oath shall be fulfilled.
It's an oath of moment, Johnny?
No. It's not of the moment. It's the oath of battle. It lasts for more than a turn, alright? On top of that, Imperial Knights have this bondsman sort of vibe. There's the big knights and then there's the little knights. And the big knights like to be like, hey, you, go do this thing better to the little knights. Kind of like the way that the auras work for Chaos Knights, but a bit more focused on like just that one guy. It's kind of like a father-son relationship.
A knight and his squire.
In terms of like data sheets, there's a little bit more focus on the big Questoris Knights than there are on the Armigers, which is kind of the opposite of how Chaos Knights work, which have more of a focus on the War Dogs and less of a focus on individual Questoris Knights. But for the most part, with this, it's all of the Questoris Knights have the same kind of stat block. They just have like a different ability and loadout depending on what you're looking to accomplish. But overall, like, that's the general gist of it. So at the start of the battle, you will choose a deed, or you can roll for it. And you choose or roll for a quality, which is what the buff will be if you accomplish it. And there's the three deeds you can choose from are selecting a character model in your opponent's army to kill, controlling more objectives than your opponent at the end of your opponent's turn, or killing more units than the battle round is. So if on turn 2 you kill 3 units, you accomplish it. So it's weird. So when you fulfill your oath, aka when you accomplish this deed, you get 2 things. You get a ability that affects your whole army, whether that be re-rolling a hit roll and a wound roll, getting extra movement on your normal moves, advance, and charges, or having a higher OC and leadership. So nothing like brokenly stupid, but nice little buffs. The other thing you get is a big boost of CP. Normally in a game, you can only get 1 extra CP per turn. This specifies that it is exempt from that rule and can give you 2 extra CP, or 3 if you randomly selected your deed or quality.
It is quite fun.
And 3 CP is huge for what is pretty easy to accomplish.
And I wouldn't be surprised to learn that a lot of the stratagems make very particular knights really good at something all of a sudden. And if a knight is like 300 to 400 points, you want them to get really good.
Yeah, yep. There's always going to be a focus around making these big point investments when everything costs like 370 to 415-ish points.
Yeah, I really like the bondsman abilities, it seems, from a first impression. A bit more engaging for me than some of the War Dog of the Chaos Knight variety.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. There's a bit further range. Like it's 12 inches instead of 6, but it only affects 1 armiger instead of all within the aura.
Feels more buff stacking way to play knights than Chaos Knights.
But yeah, that's their army rule in a nutshell. It's a pretty simple one. It's pretty easy to understand how it works and what the benefits are. But it's still very fun and engaging and kind of like pushes you in a different direction potentially each game, especially if you want to, randomize one to get that big buff. And it does specifically say or, so you can definitely choose which deed you want and then just randomize the quality to still get that 3 CP without accidentally being in a deed that you find is unaccomplishable. And all of the deeds feel possible. They don't feel difficult to accomplish, which is good. You can normally bang one out, by turn 2, maybe 3 at the latest.
Yeah, they seem pretty straightforward to get. Kind of a Space Wolfy mentality around the sort of playstyle. Just do one objective, ignoring things such as secondaries and primary for the first round or 2, and then just go berserk when you've done your little deed with just a really buffed up army.
But that will bring us to our detachments.
Do you want to do detachments or do you want to do data sheets?
Oh, I think it's a bit of a hard one, honestly. I think talking about some data sheets might be a good idea, especially when we get to talking about these detachments. There might be certain knights that benefit more than others.
Yeah, I think detachments is good to leave for after data sheets, so we kind of get a context for the models the stratagems are targeting.
Yeah, yep, for sure. All right, well, talking about data sheets, let's start with the Armigers. They're your little knights. There's only technically 3 sheets to talk about. One of the sheets I do have to put a little asterisk next to because there's something that I don't know if it's meant to be this way or if it was a bit of a mess up on GW's part, but it is what it is at the moment.
Is it Moirax getting battle line?
Yes. All the Armigers and War Dogs had battle line removed from them, but for some reason, the Moirax, which is their Mechanicum-focused Forge World Armiger, kept the battle line on it, and I just don't know if that's intended, or they're just like, whatever. Maybe it'll sell a model or two.
They're one of the few Forge Worldy models I would actually consider. They don't seem actually that expensive for what they are compared to some of the other Forge World models.
So for this reason, let's start with the Moirax while we're on the subject. I don't know why this gentleman has battle line. I feel like what happened was they were redoing the data sheets, organized it all, and then stuck Imperial armor on the side and just forgot to fix it. So it may get patched out, it may not. There's not really a way of knowing, and there's a lot of people, at least in the Reddit communities, being like, is this what's meant to happen?
How many people have more than 3 Moiraxes, though?
How many people have 1, let alone 3, right? They're not exactly easy to get your hands on, being a Forge World model in resin. But this gentleman is 150 points. He is more expensive than the other Armigers. But honestly, like, his weapon sounds so fun. There's just, like, keywords galore on this guy. And it's kind of weird. All of the Armigers have the exact same stat block. They're all 12-inch movement, 9 toughness, 3 up save, 14 wounds with 6 OC and a 5 up invulnerate range. Like, that's default across the board for all Armigers.
Nice and simple.
Yeah.
Easy to remember.
You're paying for a weapon loadout in terms of your points. This guy's ability is pretty fun. He gets a free heroic intervention. So you can keep him nearby and just, like, chase him in when someone tries to get in on your big knights or your other Armigers. For that reason, I would most likely keep a melee weapon on him at all times. Because he's going to want to get in. Which he does have a pretty good melee weapon, I'm not going to lie, with the Siege Claw. It is a 12 strength, 3 AP, D6 plus 2 damage weapon. It's huge.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Moirax with the various options you can run them with. I don't know if you take double conversion beamers. It seems like a weaker las cannon. Potentially you sustain hits, or conversion, the one where you sustain hits on a 4-up if you're more than 12 inches away. So it's like the opposite of rapid fire. That's something to consider as well. You could potentially keep them in a midfield for a bit of a gun line. When I've built a list around the Moirax in the past, I considered more them for the Siege Claw and like the anti-vehicle role because of their ability, the protection protocol. They just go in and defend a big knight for a free heroic intervention. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good role to put them in. You stick the Siege Claw and the Graviton Pulsar on them, and you just kind of have them hovering around your other guys like a vulture.
How do you say Volkite Vugler? Vugler?
Vugler, I don't know.
That sounds exceedingly French.
It sure is. And there is a detachment that focuses on Armigers, and we will get to that.
Shit. It's a German word.
Of course, you should know that.
No, it's a Dutch word.
Dutch? Shout out to the Dutch.
The Vugler is apparently derived from German and even named after a gun manufacturer, apparently. But apparently the word has origins in Dutch. Anyway, I could just be wrong about that. But
who knows?
the internet never lies.
Oh, I got a fun fact for you after the podcast about the internet not lying.
Okay. Anyway, do you want to know the differences of Armigers and the other knights now from what they used to be in the index, like how their stats got shifted?
Armiger, well, overall, they lost some toughness, gained some extra wounds, and then there were a few changes in abilities and ballistic skill for the most part.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. Yeah, previously T10, 12 wounds, now T9, 14.
Yeah.
Which I think works better against mortal wound.
I'm not mad about that change at all. Even when we were talking about like Chaos Knights, I'm not mad about that change. It's not always going to come up that your opponent's like, haha, now I hit you on twos. You know, like, it's fine. It's not that big a difference, and having extra wounds means you might just survive through the shot anyway.
Yeah.
If they had just lowered the toughness and not increased the wounds, that might have been a little bit more sad.
If we look mathematically, a Feel No Pain, was it 6-up they used to have? Or
they
was
used
it
to have a
5?
6-up Feel No Pain.
A 6-up is mathematically something like 14% more wounds.
Yeah.
They kind of just got that added on.
Yeah. So we will move on to the next Armiger. We have the Armiger Helverin. This is your I want to shoot you from away, your long-range Armiger. This dude has 2 autocannons, and his whole game plan is to stay back and use his 48-inch range to his advantage.
Man, these guys used to rip hard. Those autocannons used to have anti-fly, so against all the Chaos Demon Primarchs, whew.
Now they're more in line with the Chaos variant, having lost all their keywords. But I don't mind their support feel of the suppression protocols.
I think it's better, yeah.
I think it's neat. You shoot at something, and if you hit it, they get -1 to all of their hit rolls.
Which is really swingy.
Yeah.
Not swingy, but it's really advantageous in a pinch.
It sure can be. And you chuck a couple of these on the board, and you just like use them to peck at different targets and spread around some like debuffs, and it just makes the rest of your knights tankier at the end of the day.
And as well, there's 2 autocannons, so you can split fire. You can shoot one that you're maybe able to finish off, like maybe they have 1 model or 2 left in the unit and 1 autocannon should do the job, and then maybe put the second autocannon into a bigger target, not to kill, but just to suppress.
Personally, I feel like of all the Armigers, this is the one I would put the stubber on instead of the melter gun, just for that extra range. And, you know, you're not going to be in melter range all that often with this guy. If this guy's getting close, he's probably going to die pretty quickly.
No close range autocannoning. We want to keep him far away.
Yes.
Okay.
When we get to a certain detachment, I think it's going to be really fun to play with these guys around some bigger knights and just like throw around some bondsman buffs.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, that's the Armiger Helverin. There's not a lot to talk about in the Armigers. There'll be more to discuss when we get to the like 10 different knights. But we do have one more Armiger to talk about, and that is the Warglaive. This is the equivalent of the Chaos Huntsman. He runs around with the Melter Gun and a Reaper Chain Cleaver, because he has to have a different name to the chain sword, you know?
Yeah, all the same profiles, though.
Oh, yeah,
just
for
different
sure.
names.
They just put a different name on it. This guy hits like a truck. And I think it's really weird. Like, he's kind of filling the role of, like, the melee Armiger, but with a Melter Gun. His bonus is the Impetuous Glory, which is when he makes a charge roll, he gets to add 1 to the attack's characteristic of his strike profile and 2 to the sweep. So when he charges, he just hits more.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's neat. It goes up to 5 attacks or 10 attacks, depending on which one you use. And it's nice to still have access to like a melter gun, so you can still shoot even when you're locked in the melee and really just try and melt people. And this guy, I would choose the baby melter gun over the stubber, because you want to be there anyway. You may as well take advantage of having an extra Melter 2 gun on top.
Or, oh yeah, it's roof mounted, isn't it? I was thinking, why would you take the Melter gun over the thermal spear? But then it clicked.
The thermal spear is his main weapon. You get the choice between the heavy stubber or the melter gun on the top.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, take the melter gun.
Yeah, take the melter gun.
I really like how sort of simple the Armigers feel for IK compared to CK. There's less of them. I know that the CK still have a pretty, similar through line between the various Armigers, but I do like with Imperial Knights that they're all the same stats. There's 3 of them, and you kind of have like the ranged attacker, the melee attacker, and then the Moirax if you need that sort of roguish in the middle role, and that's it.
And if we don't include the Moirax as an option, which, I mean, frankly, you do anyway, but losing the battle line keyword hits Imperial Knights significantly harder than Chaos Knights because Chaos Knights have more options for Armigers.
True.
Whereas here you're locked into 6, and that may be why they left the battle line keyword on the Moirax, so that you don't end up in a position where you can't put any more Armigers in your list, at least not as early.
I assume one of these detachments is going to add the battle line keyword to the Armigers though, Jonny.
Oh, you will have to wait and see on that one, won't you?
Oh, will I now?
You may be pleasantly surprised or not. We will just see what happens.
I say this because I've seen a meme of a big knight walking their Armigers on a leash.
That's kind of how the bondsman ability works, but sure, you've seen the meme. Okay.
I've seen the meme.
From here, we can either discuss the problematic Cerastus, or we can move into talking about the Knights.
I think we should do the Knights. I assume you want to do Questoris pattern first before the heavier Dominus.
Sure. I will make the quick note. Cerastus Knights are not in the Codex by default. They are Imperial Armour, just like the Moirax. They are still legal for like tournament play and stuff like that, but we will probably not touch on them as much in this. Basically exactly the same as the Chaos Knight equivalent.
So you can hear us talk about that in the Chaos Knights episode.
Yeah, where we touched on the Atropos, the Castigator, the Acheron, and the Lancer. But for the most part, they do the same thing with a slightly, instead of an aura ability, they have a bondsman ability.
Ah, that's true. Is it pretty much the same?
I believe it is. I could be wrong, and I will have to double check quickly.
I feel like it reads very similarly to what I remember.
If I remember correctly. What do I have?
But even so, if you want to hear us talk about Cerastus Knights, which are definitely an option, feel free to check out our Chaos Knights Codex episode. There are timestamps that you can skip straight into the Cerastus Knight discussion.
Yeah, very, very similar abilities. They, using the Atropos as an example, they both get the Macro Extinction Protocol, which is, their personal buff. And yeah, the Atropos gets for Imperial Knights gets a slightly better bondsman ability because it can only hit 1, whereas the Atropos is a little weaker, but it can hit multiple. Very, very similar. And their stat blocks and weapons are identical.
Brilliant. There you go. Chaos Knights, go listen to them.
That's it, eh?
All right.
We will discuss all of the differences between these Imperial Knights.
Far out. Is that 8 Questoris patterns?
You have the Crusader, the Defender, the Errant, the Gallant, the Paladin, the Preceptor, and the Warden. Now, just like the Armigers, their stat line is identical. It's 10 movement, 11 toughness, a 3 and a 5 at range, 26 wounds, 6 leadership, and 10 OC. The only difference in this line, exactly like with the Chaos Knights, the Oops All Melee Knight gets 2 extra movement.
I see.
That's it. Their stat lines are the same otherwise.
Do we want to go alphabetical order?
Sure.
And start with the Crusader, putting Canis at the end?
Yes, Canis I was going to do separately because he has had a few changes since Index.
Yep.
So, all of these knights range between 365 points, and 425 points.
Far out.
The ones that tend to be the cheaper are the more melee-focused ones. The Paladin and the Gallant are 375 points. The Knight Defender at the most expensive at 425 points.
Brilliant. For these Questoris Knights, there's obviously a few options, and they read statistically the same for the most part. Is the only real visual difference, officially speaking, their weaponry?
Weaponry and abilities, yes.
Yeah, and then in gameplay, yeah, the ability. But if you were to have, for example, a single Questoris Knight, and you had a bunch of magnets,
yes,
you could reasonably have all loadouts.
This is, here's the thing. No,
here's the thing.
Because they split the kit. There are 2 Questoris Knight kits that GW sells. One of them contains the parts for Canis Rex. The other one contains the parts for the Knight Defender. So you cannot have every single knight magnetized on one body unless you buy 2 kits.
Was it Canis Rex one box and Warden on the other box?
No, it's the new Knight Defender. Because he has a conversion beamer.
Is it Defender? I thought Warden was the new one. Am I wrong?
Yes.
Whoops. Ignore me, friends.
The Defender is the new Knight. He has the conversion beam Obliterator and the Plasma Executor. But we will get to him next. Starting with the Crusader.
I just want to say that if you look online at the online shop, you'll see a box called Knight Questoris, and then an online-only box which is labeled Knight Preceptor / Canis Rex.
Yep, correct.
Mm-hmm. All right, as you were.
It's wild that they split this kit, but, I mean, that box would be Baneblade sized if they didn't.
Why not, though? It'd be so much easier.
It would be, I agree. So the Knight Crusader, his Bondsman ability is +1 to hit at range for his little friend. So this guy would work very well next to your Helverins. And this is your I want to sit here and shoot you Knight. This is your double weapon profile, your double ranged profile Knight. He comes by default with a Gatling gun that has an underslung flamer and a thermal cannon, as well as his little nipple melter gun. And you can do a little bit of swapping. The key thing is there's not a lot of loadout adjustment with these knights all over. They're very like, this is your set playstyle for this knight, and these are your kind of set weapons. So this guy, if he sits still, instead of getting +1 for heavy, it's now just sustained hits 1 on all of his ranged attacks. So something to take into consideration, if he is your gun platform and sits back, he's just going to shoot everything.
I like this guy.
Yeah, he's cool. He's one of the nicer knights, in my personal opinion, at least for what I want to be doing.
Yeah, he's got some drip, though. I love the silhouette of the double heavy cannons, just one on each arm. That's fun.
Yeah, yep. And a lot of these Questoris Knights are kind of that, like, one arm is a melee weapon, one arm is a ranged weapon. This guy is just, I don't care. I'm just going to shoot you before you get to me.
I started blasting. I'm noticing that these big boys, they have the potential for one of 3 shoulder-mounted or rooftop-mounted sort of secondary armament.
Yep.
They seem to have a few different roles.
Yeah, you have the Missile Pod, which is your I need to kill hordes. It's your D6 attacks, but it's only strength 5, AP 0, 1 damage. This is your blast, indirect fire sort of vibe. Otherwise, if you want something that hits a little harder, you get the Storm Spear Rocket Pod, which is your kind of like a elite / small vehicle fire. So it's strength 8, 2 AP, D6 damage. And then you've got the Twin Icarus autocannons, which are super specific. You get 7 strength, 1 AP, 2 damage, but you get twin linked and anti-fly 2+. So if you're going up against an army that likes to fly, oh boy, do you make their life miserable. For this guy, I really like that you can have that Gatling cannon with 18 attacks, and then you've got the option of, do I need to kill little dudes or big dudes with either the thermal cannon or the rapid fire battle cannon? Because who doesn't love throwing out 2d6 + 6 attacks? on top of 18 from the Gatling. This is my despoiler boy.
Yeah, it seems a bit more versatile than the thermal cannon, but I do like the thermal cannon.
That thermal cannon, 2d3 attacks with d6 plus 6 damage, potentially.
Yeah.
Oof. Seems nice.
You might still end up with 2 shots.
I do consider this guy better in the infantry focus. There are other knights that can do heavy, like anti-vehicle better. And for that reason, I think you're better off with the battle cannon and Gatling cannon. But this is casual play discussions. This ain't any tournament lists.
I think the more shots works better with the punishing salvos ability anyway.
Exactly right. You want to make the most of those sustained hits. But that's the Crusader.
Yeah, that's a Crusader.
At the end, we'll have to play the game of which knight is which, right?
You're gonna send me some photos. You're like, which one's which? I'm like, oh, fuck.
Damn straight. So the new guy on the block, as we alluded to before, is the Knight Defender. Now, this guy has my attention, mainly because he gets a keyword that we haven't seen in the data sheets of the Codex before. It was a Forge World keyword. This guy's got a conversion beamer.
Woo! It's fun to have new keywords.
Yeah, right? And see something from Forge World be brought out of resin and into plastic. So this guy is also a gun platform. He does not get a melee weapon, but what he does get is a huge plasma gun and a huge conversion beamer. I actually think this guy's super cool, but he's just so expensive on the points. I wanted to put this guy in my list, and I just couldn't make him fit.
I think you bring maybe one if you're doing a sort of moving castle approach to a playstyle. His Selfless Protector ability is quite nice.
It sure is. How do you feel about benefit of cover and 4-up invuln save? It's like, hey, kill me, because if you don't, my friends are harder to kill. And that's if he stands in between your opponent and the thing you want to protect. He defends real good. And then on top of that, his bondsman ability is that he just gives a war dog -1 to incoming damage. This guy is tough. Key thing to note as well, on top of all of that, he has a 4-up at range invuln save instead of a 5. So this guy is very tanky and makes the most out of those 26 wounds.
I really like this guy. He's already potential my fave.
He's just, yes, very expensive, but he has a lot going for him. I definitely recommend getting him in your list if you can, because his shooting ain't bad either.
Oh, he's equipped with all of them. Oh my gosh.
Both of his guns have underslung guns.
You know, weaponry, it's got the Phosphor Blaster, the Twin Incendine Combustor. Those are also 30k AdMech weaponry.
Yeah.
Very neat.
This guy feels like they took the AdMech Knights and brought them into the standard Questoris feel.
Yeah, that would be the Megiro and the Styrics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him. If you know how to sort of move everybody around him so that you're getting the sort of doubly benefit of a real tough bondsman and defending maybe a really integral part of your game plan. If you can move around effectively, I think he's worth the points compared to the other ones. His offense is good too.
Yep.
Righto.
For sure.
Errant, hey?
Yes, that brings us to the errant.
I need to see a picture of this one.
Oh, mate. It was so hard to list build without pictures.
Alright, I'm seeing a big flamer and I'm seeing a big chainsword. I imagine he's a Vanguard Questoris. Someone you want at the front.
You would be correct.
Woohoo, I know how things work.
So this guy is like your baby lancer. He wants to get in close, and he has all the tools to help him. By default, he has that big thermal cannon, that big Melter 6 melter gun, and a chainsword. Key thing is, you can swap that chainsword out for the Thunderstrike gauntlet, which is... You turn this guy kind of into your, like, anti-tank frontline bruiser.
That's an eye-watering amount of damage.
Yes. He has the same choices for his top-mounted weapon, so either the missile pod, the rocket pod, or the autocannon. But the key things are his abilities. His bondsman ability is that he can give I keep almost calling them war dogs, Armigers, reroll advance rolls and assault, and when he is shooting the closest eligible target, he hits on 2s, which is where you want to be anyway to get that blast, that Melter 6 thermal cannon off. This guy's pretty cool. I don't mind this guy. He's your anti-tank bruiser, and I really enjoy that. You can really see the way they incorporate the abilities around the weapons that they have.
Yeah, it feels very smart in a 10th edition context where everyone's got like 1, maybe 2 abilities. But if you have knights with so many loadouts, it will be so hard to do one ability that actually reads very briefly. So this is a really good way of doing it.
Yeah, I really like the idea of sticking this guy with a Warglaive, giving that Warglaive the ability to keep up with its assault and re-rolling advance rolls, running up the board next to this guy and just filling a very similar role and just destroying anything that they look at.
Could also make an argument for the start of the game if you want to escort the longer range one, the Helverin, to maybe a natural expansion. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And that's definitely something that will come up when we discuss lists during detachment focus.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Anything else to say about Errant?
Not really yet, no. We're going to push through these fairly quickly with the data sheets because, again, it's kind of like your abilities and which weapons they get.
Gallant.
Gallant.
The
Gallant. But based on pictures, what are you expecting?
It's double melee. Who cares about guns? If the last fellow, what was his name? Errant. If Errant has a little bit of shooting, this person looks like it's got none of the shooting.
This is correct.
But wait a minute. Oh, I was half expecting to see it's got an ability that allows you to apply extra attacks to its other weapon. I was half expecting.
This guy gives reroll charge rolls and reroll hit rolls in melee to a war dog, to an armiger, which I think is really cool. And he gets extra 3 inches of consolidating. So once he kills something, he just walks straight up to the next guy. This guy wants to stay in melee, which is shocking considering he loses his invuln save.
That is pretty shocking. It's something that never made sense to me for melee knights, except for maybe the Lancer. I'm like, you know how lethal melee is in this game, even putting a big knight into some infantry. It's
yeah, but you know what he
risky.
Does get? Devastating wounds on his strike profile and lethal hits on his sweep profiles.
Yeah.
Bit of a trade-off, but hot damn, imagine you just throwing 8 devastating wounds at your opponent in one hit.
If you are versing like elite units as well, Thunderstrike gauntlets damage 3. If you're versing, say, normal Astartes or infantry, the chainsword's got damage 2 on the sweep.
With 18 attacks.
Do you think he's just doing one big sweep, or do you think he's just really fast?
No, that feels like one big sweep taking heads off of Space Marines.
Heads, torsos, the guns they're holding. I mean, that's a big sword.
Oh, yeah. No, this guy's cool. He gives me Rampager vibes, but with a missile pod.
Yeah. But he's very gallant-like, you know? He's got a good amount of gallantry to him.
Oh, yeah. I hate you.
He's a bit more noble, if you will.
And with that, we will move on to the Paladin.
Oh my God. Doubling down on the hoity-toity, holier-than-thou energy.
Damn straight, we have the Paladin.
All right. All right. See, when we get to Paladin, now I'm starting to get confused.
Yeah.
You're going to have to explain this one.
This guy is more focused, I would say, on taking out your smaller guys. This guy ain't an anti-tank guy. This guy is, I really like that battle cannon, but I don't want to get stuck in melee with just my feet. So he still has that D6 plus 3 with rapid fire, D6 plus 3 with 3 damage each, taking out your elite infantry. And he still has that choice of the chainsword or the gauntlet.
This guy's like Crusader mixed with Errant, in a sense?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
This is where you start to see, like, the knights are very similar, they just have a different loadout, right? This guy gives lance and lethal hits to bondsmen, specific lance in melee, but it's a pretty scary combo. And he gets extra AP against the closest eligible target, which is pretty good because that puts his battle cannon up to AP 2, 3 damage, which means Space Marines are not looking pretty anymore.
Yeah, that AP2 is clutch against Marines.
They're Armour of Contempting that most of the time. With the potential of like 18 attacks, oof, this is coming in hard. We got 2 more to go.
Yep. And I'm noticing there's less and less to say about them now that we know what these Questoris Knights do.
Yeah, that's it. So the Knight Preceptor is Canis Rex, but without the Epic Hero part. This is the same weapons. This is your Las Impulsor and melee weapon. The Las Impulsor kind of being like this weird plasma slash... I guess it's just like a really big plasma gun. You get the low intensity and high intensity mode, one being more attacks, the other being more strength and damage. He's kind of your hybrid sort of vibe. Like, this guy can do whatever needs to get done. He's a good middle ground. Or if you run out of points and can't afford Canis Rex, but you still want that Las Impulsor, this is your way to go.
Very big Las cannon, says the wiki.
But it doesn't have D6 damage, you know? It doesn't feel anti-tank enough. That's why I was like, it's a big plasma gun.
The wiki says the Las Impulsor is a ferociously powerful directed energy weapon that, while comparatively short range for such sizable ordnance, is more than capable of bringing a heretic fortress down in ruins, or, I like this one, scything the leg from under an enemy titan with a single concentrated salvo. I don't know about that one, but it is definitely powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway.
So this guy has that kind of like hunter vibe. His ability is the Exemplar of the Code, where you select an enemy unit at the start of the game, and then this guy gets better against that specific unit. The way this looks in game is reroll wound rolls, and then when you destroy that quarry, you get to pick a new one. And his Bondsman ability gives a War Dog the same effect, the rerolling a wound roll against his quarry.
Oh, I like Mentor, yeah.
Yeah, this guy says, that guy over there needs to die. And then he goes and does that. Very similar to the new Chaos Knight that just came out.
We don't talk about that one.
No. But that's fine. But that's the Preceptor.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
How does it compare to Big Boy?
I was going to say, at this point, let's talk about Canis Rex, because he is the same thing, but just better. So this guy costs a whopping 50 more points.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is already like, whew, that's a lot. You lose the top-mounted weapon, so you no longer have your missile pod, rocket pod, or autocannon. But what you do get is hits on 2s instead of 3s, which is pretty cool. And you also get a much better melee weapon, which is essentially the Thunderstrike Gauntlet with more attacks, more damage, and sustained hits. Now, Canis Rex has been changed. He used to get a bonus that allowed him to crit easier, which just helped push through the sustained hits that all of his weapons get. That has been removed. And I believe it was moved to a stratagem. Now he has a CP reduction for himself, and a once per battle, he can remove a battle shock from an allied unit.
Which is non-specific.
It does say friendly Imperium unit, meaning that it doesn't have to be another knight.
It's probably one of the reasons to still consider him as an Imperium ally, but beforehand, you were kind of taking him for his sheer damage output. But now, I think with the price increase, and yes, he does have legendary free blade, so you could do things like tank shock and command rerolls reliably. But the damage, I think mathematically, it's like 30 to 40% down from his index profile. And for the price, I don't know if I would take him as an ally in maybe a more meta-focused list, but there's no denying it would be just so fun for him to show up regardless.
Yeah, I think my favorite part about these changes is he's no longer an auto-include. In Imperial Knights or as the allied knight. Like, it was always just Canis Rex. He was the best option, regardless. I like that he's still very strong. He's still better than the Preceptor, but you're paying premium for that. And that's kind of how it feels, is you're paying premium for this. He is more expensive than the Dominus Pattern Knight.
Did you just mention a new pattern of knight, Jonny?
I did, but we got to talk about the Warden first.
Who's the Warden?
I know, there's still another Questoris Knight to talk about.
Oh, true. That was a genuine question from me.
Yes, this is very similar to... Fuck, who did we talk about just before? The Paladin.
Oh my god. He's a Paladin, but with
the chain gun instead of the battle cannon.
Oh lord! All right, this one and the other one, the Paladin, they were like the first Knights loadouts, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, these were the OGs.
This guy is your anti-infantry.
There it is.
He has 18 attacks on his Gatling gun, but each time he makes a ranged attack that targets an enemy unit that is not a monster or vehicle, he also gets devastating wounds. So that Gatling gun go brr.
Uh-huh.
On top of that, I actually really like his Bondsman ability in that it gives sustained hits to another Armiger and ignores cover on the ranged weapons, which could be actually relevant sometimes, especially in the mirror match.
Especially if people remember to add cover bonuses.
Yes. No, this guy's cool. There's not a lot to talk about outside of that, but devastating wounds into infantry is pretty insane, especially when it's all of his ranged attacks, so including his heavy flamer. Devastating wounds on a torrent weapon is always going to be fun. Or even on his indirect fire missile pod, potentially. Like, this guy is kind of annoying.
It's kind of annoying. I first read his Thin Their Ranks ability as each time this model makes a ranger target that targets an enemy monster or vehicle. And I'm like, why would it be called Thin Their Ranks? You're shooting one thing. And then I reread it again, like, oh, he's getting dev wounds on everything else. Oh.
Yeah, he sure is.
Wow. Damn. Imagine that on the despoiler.
Yeah, right? That gets us through this pattern of knight.
No Magira, no Styrics.
Oh, mate, do we really want to talk about all the Forge World models? I will give you a quick... Maybe consider the Megara as an option if you can afford to buy one. Mainly because he gets D3 wounds back every turn. And also gets a pretty cool Siege Claw and Lightning Cannon with sustained hits too. It's an option.
Oh, it's so expensive for what it is.
It's 385 points. It's right in line with the rest of the Knights in the same pattern.
In Australia, from the official store,
you meant
the Knight Questoris. Yeah. In Australia... which admittedly is one of the more expensive markets for GW, the Questoris is valued at $235 dues. The Magira is $348.
Yeah.
And you gotta fucking build it from resin. Ugh.
Yeah, no.
No.
Proxy this guy, guys. Just if you're playing casual, just proxy it. If your opponent's mad about that, whoops. Play with someone else.
Dominus?
We have 2 Dominus Pattern Knights as opposed to the one that
God.
Chaos Space Marines gets. And one of them sounds really fun while probably not being the best option. We will talk about the Castellan first. So these guys, both of them, have the exact same profile. You're going to notice a theme here in terms of their stats. It's just a weapon loadout and abilities that change. So it's 8 movement, 12 toughness, 3/5 save, 28 wounds, 6 leadership, and 10 OC. Nice and simple. The Castellan, this is your Plasma Decimator and Volcano Lance. This is your big plasma gun and your big blast weapon.
Oh, that Lance profile, man.
That Lance is D6 plus 8 damage with a 5 AP. This is huge.
What rhino?
What rhino
what
is
troop
correct.
Transport?
It wounds rhinos on a 2. On top of that, when it shoots a monster or vehicle, you can re-roll that damage roll. So it's going to be hard to only take 9 damage from this.
And it's 5 points cheaper than Canis if you want him to ally someone in.
This is where I was like, Canis ain't an auto-include anymore because you can get bigger cheaper. Like, on top of this, he also has either 2 missile launchers or 2 Siegebreaker cannons and one of the other, and a twin-linked melter gun. Because why not?
Why not?
Oh, sorry, 2 twin-linked melter guns. Sorry, he has 2 nipples, not 1. And he doesn't have a bondsman ability. He has, just like the Tyrant in Chaos Knights, the 6-inch benefit of cover to Armigers. He's so big, people can take cover behind him easily.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. On the other hand, in the other Tyrant loadout, we have the fun build.
Did you just call it a Tyrant?
The other Tyrant build. It's the Valiant, but the Tyrant gets 2 loadouts. This is the other one.
Oh, okay.
This one gets you the Conflagration Cannon and the Thunder Coil Harpoon.
Oh, no. Not the Harpoon, Jonny.
Yes. You thought the last profile was good. Look at that Harpoon. 24 strength, 6 AP, 10 damage, devastating wounds.
And then your opponent just invuln 4 saves it.
Hold on, it gets better. His ability is Thunder Shock.
You've been Thunder Shocked.
Each time you select a target for this model's Thunder Coil Harpoon, roll 1d6 for the target unit and 1d6 for each other enemy unit within 6 of the target unit. On a 4-up, it arcs mortal wounds.
Damn, I love those abilities. Oh.
Imagine if my Tyrant had an AoE.
Man, why do they always get all the cool shit?
Right? This one sheet makes me almost consider playing a game as Imperial Knights.
Yeah, why not?
Because this guy just seems so fun.
He sure does. Very casino cannon-y, which is right up your alley. There's not nearly as many shots in its tank as its friend, the Castellan. But if it does hit, oh boy.
Oh boy is correct. Him and all his friends go brr.
Wow. I didn't give the Valiant much look before. I am not a huge fan of casino cannon-y weaponry, but that AoE is pretty spicy.
As I said, I don't think it's the better of the two, but I think it's the more fun of the two.
Oh, yeah. Sure is.
And I'm all for fun over better. All right, Joshy, we got through all the data sheets.
Oh, we forgot Sir Hector.
Oh, mate. How did we forget? When Canis dies, he doesn't die. His pilot gets out and runs around as a
does
lone op.
Objectives with a really good pistol.
Yes. Now, I have read on the Reddit that some people are cheating with this and not playing it right. If your opponent does that, just walk the fuck away. Don't bother playing with them anymore.
What's the thing they're doing wrong?
They're reading the part where it says your Canis Rex unit is not considered to be destroyed until Sir Hector is also destroyed, and leaving Canis Rex on the table to do his own thing. And he's indestructible because he can't be destroyed until Hector is. This is wrong. Do not do this. Do not be that guy.
There's like an entire first sentence which invalidates that.
Yes, they're like, if it's destroyed, it's not destroyed. He just gets out, and now it can't be destroyed. No, that is wrong. Come on, guys. If you're playing with someone like that, just don't. It's not worth it. It's not worth your time. The key thing is, it specifically only becomes Sir Hector once Canis Rex is removed from the table. Remember that.
Sometimes people are just bad at reading, so don't jump down your opponent's throat.
Yeah.
But if they are not budging, then walk away.
It's fine. Like, some people, they're just going to take advantage of this sort of thing. Some people just don't understand. It's a little confusing, but yeah, there's no need to play with people if you're not going to have fun. All right, Joshy.
Detachments.
I have a question for you before we move to detachments.
Oh, I love questions.
How's your list building going?
I'm waiting till we actually get through the detachment that has piqued my interest a bit more. Okay. And then I might do a live list building with you.
Okay, all right. I do have a list, and it is around... Oh, I'm done. It is around one of these detachments. We will discuss it when we get there.
Oh, really? It's around one of the detachments we're covering today.
There are some fun-looking detachments in this book.
Yeah, it's 4.
Yeah.
I don't know if you need more.
I would say they're all viable, but we will start with the Valourstrike Lance. This one piqued my interest straight away.
I get why.
And is probably a very good attachment, and I almost built around this detachment, but I didn't. It just seemed too easy and too good, as opposed to what I decided. Oh, mate, wait, the enhancements are a bit wacky. But this is, detachment rule is bold gallantry. Imperial Knight units from your army, when they advance, gain assault. Nice and simple. Having assault on all of your knights, though, is insane for the purpose of getting around the board and accomplishing things when you've got very few units. It does invalidate one of the bondsman abilities, though, because there's a bondsman ability that can give assault. Its enhancements, though, are a little weird. They're all a buff to your knight that affects another knight. It's kind of like bondsman, but you can target big knights with it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's neat, right? So they're all very similar. They all are at a certain point in the game. You select one other knight within 12 inches and visible to the bearer, and they get an ability. So one is D3 lost wounds returned, or 3 lost wounds if your army is honored, which is if you've accomplished your oath. So you can just pass around a healing every turn. Super cool. I like it. Or how about at the start of at the end of your movement phase until your next movement phase, have some stealth. Pretty cool.
What the hell? So, bearer of the evanescent ion, the stealth one.
Yep.
The flavored text, this knight's ion shield projects a stream of nicitating particles that can obscure fellow nobles from sight. I had to look up what nicitating particles were. It's basically a protective or like semi-transparent eyelid found in most animals, like birds, reptiles, some mammals. And it basically protects the eye from physical damage, like so if you get dust or something in your eye.
Yeah, it's the second eyelid.
Yeah, I didn't know that. What a deep cut. Whoever wrote this detachment knows their science.
They got the nerd in the office to make it.
Yeah.
The next one, probably not as useful, but you can give someone's ranged weapons ignore cover. Could come up. Not going to be as relevant all the time, though. And the last one is re-rolling charge rolls. For when you're like, hey, Mr. Gallant, get in there.
Because you're a bold gallant today, actually.
Yeah, right. And then stratagem-wise, these stratagems are all just, like, good. I wouldn't say there's anything, like, amazing, but there is a fun one. The fun one being Thunderstomp. And I believe you cued me in on this one before at a previous time.
I did.
In the fight phase, one unit's armored feat gets buffed.
It's so funny, dude.
It's 8 attacks on an armored feat melee weapon, or 12 attacks on a Titanic feats melee weapon, and +1 AP. For when someone gets close to your gun platform and you just need to curb stomp them into the ground.
You get charged by gaunts, you're like, bugs, stomp, stomp, stomp.
Yep. On top of that, this is where they put rotate ion shields, which is your 4-up invuln save in the shooting phase. We also have an ability to get lance or on your melee or lethal hits on your ranged. There is a reactive move in tactical foil.
D6 on a knight. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That knight's going fucking nowhere.
And then their 2 CP one is full tilt, which is add 2 to the movement characteristic and 2 to advance rolls this turn for a knight. Simple stuff.
End of phase, so you won't be able to combine that with tactical foil.
This is correct, yes. Well, tactical foil is in your opponent's movement phase anyway. Full tilt is in your movement phase.
Imagine if full tilt lasted until the end of your next command phase, so that you could then tactical foil.
Do you have anything else to say about Valourstrike Lance?
No, seems pretty generalized. I love the flavor text in a lot of these abilities. It's really cool. Gives me like Teutonic Knights sort of fluff.
Yeah. No,
or like
good.
Knights of the Round. So that's really fun. If you're really into adorning your knights with like insignias and like house insignias, I think you'll feel really at home playing this detachment. It all kind of feels very knightly. So flavor win. Rule-wise, nice and straightforward.
Yeah, very simple. You could pick this up and you'll do all right with it because you'll know exactly what's going on. This next one, though, requires a little bit more forward thinking and planning. We will be talking about the Gate Warden Lance.
So fun. What a concept.
This is what I built my list around.
Ah, shit. It's what I was going to do too.
It's fun.
It's good, eh? Tell me about it.
Cool. Gate Warden Lance. Your detachment rule is Dauntless Defenders. So at the start of the first battle round, you are going to select 2 objective markers on the battlefield, and these are your foundation. As long as you interrupt a line between these foundations with a model, you are said to be on the defensive line. While on the defensive line, all of your attacks on visible enemies ignore any and all modifiers to hit rolls, and you gain sustained hits. So, while you're defending your line, you shoot real good, or punch real good. It's real good. While your opponent... And there are some things that affect, like, when your opponent is on this line as well. Like, you're here to defend a location. If, for any reason, one of your foundations is removed from the battlefield, like a primary rule that might remove stratagems, you can pick a new foundation to replace it.
Cool.
For the most part, a lot of no man's land objectives in a lot of what we're looking at for our deployments will have kind of like a line through the middle of the map that has like 3 objectives on it. So you can pick the furthest 2 and essentially be guarding 3 objectives. The other option is you choose like your home objective and your opponent's, and you just have a line across the middle of the table.
That's actually really fun. I didn't consider that.
It is fun, yes. And then you've got a line you can run up and be buffed.
Yeah, wow, Jonny, you're a genius. I didn't even consider that.
So we have 4 enhancements, yet again. A couple of these I think are very cool. And they all bar 1 focus on your defensive line and being on it. So the first one is the Inquisitor-At-Arms. This one I feel is a little weird. So it's while the bearer is on your defensive line, and there are no enemy units on your defensive line.
That's a weird caveat.
Add the bearer's OC to each model affected by its bearer's bondman ability.
Huh.
This is...
I don't know about that one.
It feels a little weird to me, because if you need that extra OC, there's probably someone on your defensive line.
I read this as you're sending off an Armiger to go take an objective just out of reach
outside of it,
the big boy.
Can interrupt it so easily.
Yeah, it's so easy to interrupt, yeah.
If you don't, though, you are adding a significant amount of OC to a point, because you're essentially adding 10 OC on top of the 6 that your Armiger has, so it's like 16 OC on an objective. That's a lot.
This one Armiger walks over to the objective. I am worthy!
And then because it's an Armiger, it gets wiped off the board.
I was worthy!
The next one is Purgation's Hand. Love the name. Each time the bearer makes a melee attack, if it's on the defensive line, you can re-roll a hit roll of 1 and a wound roll of 1.
Good.
Yeah, it's fine. It's great. If you've got free points, you're probably picking it up. The third one is ranged weapons for this unit while on the defensive line have ignored cover.
And then one that doesn't have anything to do with the defensive line is the best one.
Is the one you're picking up every game. For 15 points, Vengeful Tread. How do you feel about Tank Shock every turn for free?
Whoa. Who needs the Lancer anymore? Put that on... What was double melee guy?
The Gallant. You turn your Gallant into a Lancer.
Was Gallant double melee guy?
Yeah.
Far out, I've already forgotten. But yes, do that.
I'm here for you.
Do that. Thanks, Boo. This is why I'm having you head us off in the Knights department.
This is my ballpark, you know?
Yeah. Stratagems. How many of these are going to affect the defensive line? Oh, not that many.
Not too many, but a couple. So you
do
have
4
drive
of them. Ignore me.
You
5
do
of
have
them.
Drive them out, which is critical hits on 5s while on your while targeting an enemy on your defensive line. So if they get too close, you have Marshal the Defense, which is 2 Imperial Knights, can get 3 inches extra movement.
Yeah.
Pretty good. You've got Lance Breaker, which is, oh no, you got on my line. Now I get to increase. Now I get the Audacity trait, as you call it.
Tenacity.
Tenacity, that one.
But Audacity works well.
Subtract 1 from the wound roll if the strength is greater than the toughness. Titanic Bombardment, which is essentially if you're heavy and on your defensive line, you get sustained hits 2 on your ranged attacks. So you can. I really like this stratagem to just be like, kill that thing over there, real dead.
Yeah, that's really fun.
Yeah. And then you've got Steadfast Superiority, which is re-rolling hits rolls in melee while an enemy is on your defensive line. Oh, while you're on your defensive line, sorry. Or you've got a -1 battle shock at the start of your opponent's charge phase.
Man, such a whiff of a stratagem for something that sounds so freaking cool.
The Fortress of Intimidation.
Fortress of Intimidation. All right, rolling my 2d6. Oh yeah, they passed their leadership. But I'm intimidating.
So, yeah, I built a list around this.
Cool. I would too.
It just seems like fun. You put down a line and you go, I'm going to stay here. You're probably going to try wherever possible to have 3 objectives within your defensive line so that you can hold the majority of them. And you're just going to be really hard to push off. I really wanted to make a defender fit here. And he's just so expensive.
I think he might be in this detachment, for the sheer fact you might want to be staying still. I think the defender's, defensive capability to both buff your force whilst moving up to an objective, it's probably not the right detachment for that playstyle, I think, so.
He just seems like he would just sit there at the front of the defensive line and guard people so well. But I did decide against him. Instead, I picked up Canis Rex, which I'm not sure about. I could definitely potentially turn this into a defender if I wanted, or into another knight. I'm not sold on Canis in this detachment. But I also included the Knight Errant, which is the thermal cannon and chainsword. Your big, anti-tank vibe. This is the guy that gets +1 to hit when shooting the closest eligible target. And I took a Knight Warden, which is the Gatling cannon anti-infantry guy. My vibe is...
Yep, that checks out.
Put a knight on each of the 3 objectives on your line and shoot your opponent until they try to get close. That was the vibe and the plan. From there, I put in 2 Helverins so that they can help defend that line. And I went for a very shooty army, as you can tell. And then to actually accomplish things off the line, I've put in 3 Armiger Warglaves and 1 Calidus Assassin. Because, frankly, he's so good.
Calidus is literally a woman, dude.
You know what? How dare you assume their gender?
My bad.
But no, the Calidus Assassin is incredible, and it's hard to pass up as an ally, just because of its ability to bounce on and off the board and accomplish objectives. I wanted someone who had that lone op infiltrator vibe, and this was the best I could think of at the time, with my limited Imperial knowledge.
So I made a very quick list that definitely wouldn't stay the way it is, but it's funny.
Okay, well, that's my whole list. So what is this the same detachment?
Yeah.
Cool, go for it.
So I really love the idea of just being just this insanely oppressive fortress of gun. And so I've considered, and obviously I would change this to be a little more get some enhancements involved, maybe an assassin for objective play. That's great. But without considering those things, I managed to fit in 2,000 points exactly.
Oh, nice.
A Knight Castellan.
Yep.
A Knight Valiant.
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing here.
A Knight Warden to babysit 2 Helverins, and then a Gallant marches up with a Warglaive.
Nice.
There you go.
You know how I feel about big knights.
Would I take one of those big knights out in favor of some other things? Yes. Will I?
Most likely.
Should I? Yes.
It.
Will I? No. 2,000 points. There you go. That's my immediate thought process after going through the Datasheets. Like, oh, this would be fun.
It's 6-7 units, and most of them are staying still.
It's all gun.
The only issue is you can't put Vengeful Tread on anyone.
That's honestly the sole thing that makes me think to change the list. But you can tank shock anyway, you know?
Yeah, but tank shocking for free?
Look, you do your deed and you get like 2 to 3 CP. Whatever, it's fine. You know, good chance you gun enough things off the board anyway.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. I love the idea of having a bunch of Dominus Knights, so sick as.
Before we get to the other 2 detachments, do you have a paint scheme in mind? Because I certainly do, and you'll love it.
Oh, go on, because I do not, I won't lie.
G1 Autobots.
Ooh, okay.
Each of the knights is painted around a different one of the original 1980s Transformers cartoons. So, like, someone's Optimus Prime. One of the little war dogs. Fuck, I did at that time. One of the archers is Bumblebee. One of the... Maybe the Warden's, you know, Ironhide, because Ironhide's the gun dude, you know, that kind of aesthetic. And each one's just very visually different, but it's G1 Autobots, just Imperial Knights.
Sick as, love it.
Sick as, yep.
So, do you have anything else you want to say about this detachment before we move on?
I think a lot of the abilities are really good. I'm not so impressed by how much of the buffs, both the enhancements and the strats, actually impact specifically being on the defensive line. That feels a little shoehorny. It's almost like you're playing a bit of a, you know, like the older like PS3 360 era shooter games where there's the inevitable like turret section on the helicopter or something.
Yeah.
And you just have to face the horde. It kind of feels like that. It's like park everything or most everything on a line and just hope for the best.
And that's why I was like, it's fun. It's not so much that it's strong, but it's definitely fun.
Yeah, so I'm not so sure how I feel about the flexibility of the detachment, but I don't have any other detachment like this come to my mind for that sheer level of like cinema.
So that will bring us to the Questoris Companions. This is your Army Rule Matters detachment.
Ah, yes, I do know about this one. That's good ideas.
The Heroes of Legend. So at the start of your turn, if your current oath is fulfilled, determine another oath. Cannot repeat. You get to keep doing it, you know?
Yep.
This allows you to stack up those qualities, but each additional one only grants you 1 additional AP instead of CP instead of 2 or 3.
How unfortunate. An extra CP.
Imagine your detachment rule has built-in CP generation that ignores restrictions.
And army-wide buffs
at
the same time. Holy.
On top of that, they did something a little weird with the enhancements here, where they turn them into like single-use effects that can be refreshed whenever you complete an oath.
Oh, yes. Look at
These,
that.
in my opinion, are a little hit and miss, but some of them are alright.
Pretty cheap.
So,
they're pretty cheap.
They are definitely on the cheaper side because of it. So we have the Herald of Triumph, which is when the bearer ends a charge move, you can force Battle Shock at -1 to each enemy unit within engagement range. But once that is done, you can't do it again until you complete another oath, and then you get to refresh this. The next one is super specific for something that's single use.
And sounds so cool.
The Wormslayer Divination. In your shooting phase, you expend this, and each of your attacks that targets a unit with fly, you get to reroll the hit roll. If your opponent can't fly, it does nothing.
Just every battle round. Hey, do you have anything that flies?
Oh no, I took a force that's all just tanks. Okay, cool. I'll throw this in the bin. In the mirror match, useless.
It says the Wormslayer Divination on the flavor text, whispered to a knight's machine spirit before battle. This techno-omen prophesies doom for airborne foes. So it's just like, shoot the planes, shoot the planes, shoot the planes.
Then we have the Pennant of Silvered Fury.
That's fun. Kills werewolves.
Yeah, right. This is in the fight phase. Melee weapons get sustained hits 2 for the round, or for the phase. This is pretty cool. I like this as something you can get back. Like, sustained hits 2 is huge.
That one's really good.
Yeah. And then you have Crushing Condemnation. They're on point with the names, right?
Oh, they've won.
So this is when selected to fight, after resolving its attacks, if you destroy an enemy, you can spend this. Super specific requirements. Select one enemy unit that is not within engagement range of any units from your army and is within 12 inches of and visible to the bearer. So specific.
That's a weirdly wordy grenade.
You get rolled 66 on a 4-up, it's a mortal wound.
It's just a grenade.
It's a mortal wound. Yeah.
So wordy for a grenade. Just give it the grenade keyword.
It's so specific. You have to get into melee, kill someone, and then have another unit nearby but not engaged with anyone. Then you can do it.
That might be good on like a lone op character that maybe was just sitting around doing an objective, like a combi lieutenant.
Sorry, did you forget the first part that says Imperial Knights model only?
No, like your target. Like let's say there's a combi lieutenant doing a sabotage or whatever, and you charge someone near him, and all of a sudden, old mate's within like 11 inches, you know? Maybe you get lucky and you just kill him with this ability for 10 points. But besides these sort of objective monkey grenade targets, I don't know about it.
Yeah, it's very specific is my problem. Moving on to stratagems. Guess what shows up here? Our index.
Stuff to specifically target armigers.
The old Feel No Pain 6.
Oh,
you also notice every single one of these stratagems cannot touch armigers.
Damn, I'm so wrong.
They're all Imperial Knights Titanic units. We have your opponents shooting or the fight phase. One Titanic unit can get a Feel No Pain 6-up for the phase. We found a way to get it back. You have Hero's Tread, which gives you sticky objectives. You have the Titanic Jewel, which is in the shooting or the fight phase. You can add 1 to hit rolls and wound rolls against monsters, Titanic or Walker units. You have, after a fallback, you can shoot and declare a charge. You have an extra 3 inches to consolidate, or you have declare a charge in a turn in which they advanced. All very simple, standard kind of stuff. You're like, cool, but only for Titanic Knights. So it's rewarding you to take less armigers.
I don't mind it.
It's fine.
Doesn't really excite me, but it's fine.
No, but for something that's just army rule focus, it's not bad.
This is the hero hammer detachment of the army, I feel, because your Questoris are going to get like potentially triple buff. And you have all this CP to just spend on like the hero tread, jewel, the courageous stand. You might actually consider 4, 5, maybe even 6 Questoris Knights.
If you can fit 6 in your list.
True. I'm forgetting the new points economy. But, 4, 5.
Yeah. Maybe a couple of small... Maybe you go like 4 Titanic Knights and then spend some points on some Imperium agents or something just to have someone do something in the game.
Yeah, that's also a good idea. You don't necessarily need to rely on bondsman abilities to push your army over into the victory state with this detachment, I feel. So yeah, the objective agents would be pretty good. Arbitus can do like a shields loadout, which gives them an invuln 4, so they're going to be really annoying to shift off an objective.
Yep. No, there's definitely options, and this is definitely the detachment where I would be considering Imperial agents.
This is their army rule, Jonny. It's being with the Knights.
It all comes around, full circle at last.
First episode of our second year doing this pod, we figured it out. We figured out Imperial agents.
No, we didn't.
Cool. Does that take us to Spearhead, Boo?
That takes us to the other side of the coin, where the last one focused on Titanic units. This is Armiger's rule. We're going to AOS in this because we have a Spearhead.
Aha! I see what you did there.
It is the Spearhead-At-Arms. So even though it is a Armiger-focused detachment, you still need to bring some friends, or at least a friend, for them to play with.
They're learning still.
They work around the idea of the bondsman ability. But specifically, instead of bondsmaning with 1 armiger, you can bondsman with 3. And instead of 12 inches, you have 15 inches to play with if you are honored. Super cool. Being able to just be like, hey, all you guys are now my squires. On top of that, this is where armigers get battle line.
I knew it.
Because imagine you're locked to 6.
Yeah, it's going to go really nicely. You pick maybe 2, maybe 3 at most bigger knights to bondsman into a particular build you want to lean with, whether it's a melee or a ranged. And then 6 armigers. No.
Or more.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not 6 total anymore. You could do 12.
Or if you include the other guys, 18.
Wow. I don't think that fits.
It sure doesn't, especially if you're putting in at least a big knight, because you do want to take advantage of the detachment rule, especially when all of the enhancements can only go on the knights because they need to be a character.
Man, that's stupid.
At least the War Dog detachment lets you turn some of your War Dogs into characters.
Ah, well.
And honestly, I think that could have been a very cool way to go with this detachment would have been to give them character rule and then make the enhancements bondsman abilities that they can then give out to armigers. I think that would have been a cool way to go about this as well.
All right. 6 Helverins, 6 Warglaves. That's 1,680 points.
Cool. So then from there, you include 1 big knight and you're at 2k.
Done.
Easiest list build ever.
Who do we pick, though? What do these enhancements suggest we do?
So, you have Mentor's Pride. While 2 or more armigers are under the effects of the bearer's bondsman ability, each time one of those armigers makes an attack, you can reroll a hit roll of 1. So if there's a bondsman ability that does that, don't bother.
Sure.
Fables of Nightmare. While 2 or more armigers are under the effect of it, melee weapons equipped by those armigers have precision. Fables of Nightmare is correct.
That's the one. 10 points. What the hell?
And you give this to your poor Warglaves and let them just tear your opponent's characters apart.
Just imagine them just sort of brushing the bodyguard unit aside with their feet and then just cleaving the warlord down in half.
Then you have Tales of Heroism. So while 2 or more armigers are under the effect, each time one of those armigers makes a melee attack, you can ignore all modifiers to hit rolls or wound rolls, or wound rolls.
That's good.
Great if you're going up against the Nurgle Death Guard,
or the Dark Angels,
and they decide to give you the -1, or this could come up. It's not going to be relevant all the time. Martial Tuition does the same thing, while there are 2 or more armigers under the effects of it, you could target one of those armiger models with the counter-offensive stratagem for 0 CP, which is pretty big. You will notice a big focus on the Warglaves as opposed to the Helverins, as 3 of them are melee-focused abilities. But a free fight next is pretty cool, once per turn. I do like that stratagem. Especially when counter-offensive is a 2 CP stratagem and this reduces it to 0.
It's really good. Stratagems.
To stratagems.
Stratagems? Hey, Thin Their Ranks is back.
Yes. Thin Their Ranks is back, but different. They're just recycling names at this point.
Why not?
Thin Their Ranks is 1 armiger model, or 1 Titanic model, and 1 bonded armiger, as I'll call it. So it has to be an armiger that is targeted by its bondsman ability. At the start of your shooting phase, can gain rapid fire 1 on its ranged weapons.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so you either get 1 armiger, or a Titanic and his pet.
Or pets.
Well, or pets.
Rapid fire 1. I mean, it works on the autocannons because there's 2 of them, but for 1 CP, maybe you get 6 extra shots at most from the gun you care about. I don't know. Or the thermal spear, I guess, could be quite good on the Warglaive.
You're probably going to be in rapid fire range because you want that melter damage. It's fine. With the same sort of caveat, we have Virtue of Courage. So 1 Armiger model or 1 Titanic and its pets. Select 1 enemy unit until the end of the phase. Each time one of your Armigers makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, add 1 to the hit roll. It's pretty good. So at the moment, kinda. You just gotta jump through hoops to get it because we're not Space Marines.
Yeah, that's fine. No, who wants to be Space Marines anyway?
Not me. Then we have Exemplar's Wisdom, which is a little bit more specific. So your shooting phase, just after a Titanic Imperial Knights model has shot, that Titanic model and any of his bonded friends, one enemy unit that was shot by that Titanic unit, all of your Armigers now have AP +1 against that enemy. So you get some extra AP if you're targeting the same dude as the Titanic Knight. It's fine.
It's fine, Jonny.
Fine. Like, AP's cool. It's nice, but it's fine. Adding an extra AP to the autocannons would be pretty good. But it kind of feels like you're probably split firing to get this, because if your Titanic Knight isn't killing them, it's already pretty sad, right?
Yeah, I get what you're putting down.
Then we have Let Duty Be Your Shield. How do you feel about Armour of Contempt for Armigers?
I like it. I think there's one of these everywhere you look in an army.
There's always one somewhere, right?
The next 2 I'm more excited about, though.
Yeah, they have that same caveat, that 1 Armiger or a Titanic Knight and his bonded friends. You have Mantle of the Mentor, which is shoot and fall back.
It's really potent in armies like this because it's so easy to put like a 50-point infantry unit into melee with something triple that cost and stop them from shooting. And it's such an easy way to counter armies like Knights who rely on fewer models. So Mantle the Mentor, real good.
On top of that, remember that you don't want to be in melee most of the time because you lose your invuln save. So
True.
being able to fall back and shoot means that your Armigers aren't going to get locked in melee and die without their armor save. And then you've got to the end of the opponent's fight phase. Key thing, this is also, a Titanic Knight and his bonded companions. If your Armigers are within 9 inches of a battlefield edge, they can just go back into strategic reserves. So if you get stuck on the wrong side of the board, you can disappear and come back.
I like it. Very fun.
Yeah. This detachment actually seems pretty fun.
It's got some stuff. I'm a big fan of the bondsman synergy and making that a bit better. You see a lot of detachments in this game that might boost, say, like the army rule, such as the Questoris Heroes of Legend stuff. But I really like Spearhead leaning into the second part of the army rule, which is the bondsman stuff. It's really neat, and it's going to make you feel good about having built up this sort of knights and their squires army over the editions, rather than just oops or war dogs, and needing just a way to do oops or war dogs. Yeah.
I really like that this is focusing on the Armigers while still rewarding you for having the bigger knights around. I really like that. Whereas in Chaos Knights, there's this war dog focused detachment that says no to any of the big knights. No, it's cool. I like it. That's the book outside of Crusade.
Yeah, I can very quickly mention the Grotmas Detachment and the Crusade for you, and then we can wrap it up far out.
Sure, go for it.
So, Grotmas, last December, Christmas Advent calendar, everyone got a detachment, yay! Imperial Knights got Questor Forgepact, a soup detachment, as I like to call them, where you can bring up to a quarter of your list as a very limited amount of Adeptus Mechanicus units. You get all the flavors of the Tech Priests. Actually, not really. You just get a couple of the Tech Priests, but the main ones, the Dominus, the Manipulus, and then you can bring their Battle Lines, Skitarii, Rangers, and Vanguards. They're okay, but you're wanting to sort of play around, almost like a pseudo-bondsman playstyle, where you're wanting to keep the 2 flavors of this army together. You want to keep your Tech Priests and stuff around your Knights, because, for example, the Tech Priests can regain wounds to your big Knights in the command phase, but then Mechanicus themselves, if they are nearby Knights, they also get to re-roll not just a hit, but a wound roll of 1 as well. So it makes the battle line a bit more lethal as well. The Skitarii do have a couple of neat little weapons, and they're also going to be just good at clearing off some sort of weakened mobs that perhaps your big knights just didn't get to finish off. But I would be playing this more so for the tech priest side of things. There are a couple of stratagems and enhancements that double down on this partnership, this synergy. For example, the stratagem aggression begets aggression. You pick a Knights or a Imperial Knights character unit and one Adeptus Mechanicus unit, range weapons get assault. So I don't think until maybe they go back and tweak the detachments, this detachment's particularly lethal, but it does offer a couple of little like synergistic plays if you really like that kind of Forge World, combined arms, old 30k style where the Cult Mechanicus did work alongside Knights quite heavily. If you've got a lot of the Forge World armor stuff, this actually is a really fantastic way to play them. It's going to give a little bit of that 30k vibes. That's neat. What do you think, Jonny?
I do agree with everything you said. I just want to point out one key little cool moment.
Please.
If you decide to run the Megaras, you can team him up with one of the tech priests, give that the Magos Questoris, and that knight every single turn will be getting 2d3 plus 2 wounds back every turn, which makes that knight very hard to kill.
Oh yeah.
Just something to think about. Like that's a lot of wounds that your opponent has to potentially push through. And if you really want, you could even go so far as to give that Megara the Omniscient champion and have 4 extra wounds, making it even harder to kill.
I'm a big fan of the Forgepact, even though it's probably not as intense, let's say, as like Defensive Line and the other detachments we talked about today. But as someone who does own a couple of tech priests and Skitarii just by virtue of one of those magazine subscriptions, I have pieces to put into action were I to collect knights, and it could be fun.
Yeah, no, it's neat. But as I said, you're probably running one of the other detachments instead.
Oh yeah, a lot of the Grotmas stuff is needing to be revised. I wouldn't be surprised if part of a potential Grotmas 2 is like 1 or 2 of the days, maybe even 3. They're like, we've revised today a third of the old ones. Here you go.
Yeah.
Cool. Crusade. Chaos Knights, I believe, focused around this style of modifying the various pieces of the knight itself, the arms, the legs, the chassis, that kind of stuff. Am I correct?
Yeah, for sure.
Brilliant. The Imperial Knights isn't that. They go into more of the sort of chivalric, like oaths and deeds and stuff. The actual Crusade supplement of the Imperial Knights has kind of these like banners as like a printout, and the banners look very similar to a lot of the like cloths and fabrics that you can actually add to your knight, so that's kind of cool. But what you do is you obviously crusade them up a bit, give them a name, give them a little bit of a lore, but then when you sort of put them in, you sort of choose a sub-faction, whether they're the Questor Imperialis, Questor Mechanicus, or a Freeblade. Then what you do is you pick one of your units to be essentially a chivalric questee, and you pick one of 4 of these quests. After 3 battles with them, you go back to this quest and sort of see how you did. For example, the first one is called To Strike Down the Unclean Behemoths. While this quest is active, add 1 to the tally each time a monster or vehicle unit is destroyed by an attack made by a knight's model. And then for each of those destroyed units that was Titanic, you gain 1 additional tally mark. Your quests will give you rewards in 3 tiers, 1, 2, 3. For example, 4 to 6 tally marks gets you 1 of these points, 11 plus gets you 3. And then after you've completed the quest and before you've picked another one, you can then essentially go and pick a mastery for your knight. There are, again, 3 levels to this system. There is Aspiring, Esteemed, and Victorious. And they have a cute little blue shield, red shield, yellow shield, like the little tilt shields you see. There are a few different little trees to go down. A couple of them are limited to being a particular faction, such as a Mechanicus pilot or a Freeblade, but there are plenty of generic ones. The first one, for example, is the Master of Obduracy. If you're aspiring, so 1 to 3 Chivalric points, you'll have the Virtues Defender. You get +1 OC if not battle shocked. If you're suddenly 4 to 6 points and you're esteemed, it's at 3. Victorious, which is 7+ points. It's Sentinels of Orthodoxy, it's +5 OC. And all these various little masteries are around something else in the game. Movement, keyword stuff, regaining wounds even, like the Mastery of the Mechanisms. The Mechanicus skill tree will get you regenerating wounds because you're blessed by the Sacristans, you're a Knight of the Cog, that kind of thing. And that's pretty much it. You just go through this cycle of doing a quest, getting some points, putting them into a skill tree.
Yeah, it's sick. It actually looks like a lot of fun to keep track of as well. One of the better ones for that.
Very straightforward, yeah. Unfortunately, it is only limited to, I believe, 1 unit at a time. But if you're playing a long-form campaign, maybe taking your forces from Crusade Supplement to Crusade Supplement. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yes. All right. That is about everything to consider with Imperial Knights Codex and affiliated things such as Imperial Armour and Grotmas.
I will just mention as well.
Go on then.
There is a downside if you don't get to the 4 tally. You can become dishonored, and there are specific battle scars around being dishonored and burdens. So you want to pick something you can accomplish, because there's things like cannot be affected by bondsman abilities, cannot fall back, and subtract 2 from OC and leadership and 1 from leadership.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there are some
correct.
downsides if your opponent just shuts you out.
Yeah, always fun to read these supplements as well, because the generic agendas, requisitions, relics that you'll find in all Crusade supplements are usually very unique to the Force, and usually about half of the things I just said will impact your actual Crusade objectives. The burdens is really nice. It's fun having battle scars that are actually specific to your Force. But the relics are cool too. You're like one of the Antiquity relics, Sanctuary. The bearer has a 5+ invuln save against melee.
Oh, yes.
Or Armour of the Sainted Ion, which is a save characteristic of 2+.
I do like a lot.
Cool. My dear boy, Jonny. We've done Imperial Knights, and I am under the impression that perhaps you're liking them a bit more than maybe you were intending to. No? They're not.
I don't think they're better than Chaos Knights. Yeah, I do like some of the stuff they're going on. I think I just like the Chaos flavor a little bit more.
All right, so it's a flavor thing for you. Do you think rules-wise they're competitive in sort of a similar vein?
Yeah, I think they are. I think they will do fine. At the moment, they're just struggling because they were so oppressive for so long that everyone's kind of adapted to fight them off. But as things progress through the meta, people ease off a little bit, and then they'll find a sweet spot.
And then they'll make a new edition.
Don't remind me.
They might not. They might surprise us.
No, they won't. How else are they going to sell codexes if they're all out?
Yeah, I know, right?
No one's going to buy 10.5 edition codexes, right?
Just do a magazine subscription. That will do well.
Just include it in your Warhammer subscription.
Right. All right, my dear. Any other remarks you would like to do for Codex Imperial Knights?
If you're considering picking up Imperial Knights, can I suggest not and come over to Chaos instead? We have more fun.
Oh, no. Sorry, we're having a Vox Communications error. The warp is jamming you there, Jonny. We can't quite hear what you're saying, heretic.
We have more fun. Our army rule is full of D words like doom and despair and darkness.
Oh, yeah. Edgy. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next week with probably another Codex review.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do this.
Rock and Stone!
Have a lovely week, everyone.
Goodbye!